The show began with all the usual fanfare, bright lights, a buzzing crowd, and a table of hosts smiling wide, ready to welcome a star. The View had been advertising Michael B. Jordan's appearance for days, teasing his latest film project and the personal stories he might share. As he walked onto the set, dressed in a sleek navy suit that somehow struck a balance between elegance and approachability, the studio audience erupted. He flashed his signature smile, embracing each co-host with casual grace and slipping easily into the rhythm of cheerful banter. Joy Behar cracked a joke about him being the only reason her grandchildren would watch the show, and everyone laughed. Sarah N. complimented his directorial work, while Ana Navarro brought up his global travel schedule, asking how he juggles filming, press tours, and family. Michael, leaning back slightly in his chair, exuded a calm charisma. He spoke warmly about his love for storytelling, his passion for highlighting Black voices, and how the last few years, especially following the loss of Chadwick Boseman, had reshaped his purpose. For the first few minutes, it was exactly the kind of smooth, feel-good segment the producers were counting on. A box office star offering up vulnerability and vision, laughter and inspiration in equal measure. As the conversation deepened, Sonny, Hostin, always the more probing interviewer of the panel, shifted the tone ever so slightly. "Michael," she began, "you've spoken a lot about growth, about evolving as a man and as an artist. But I want to ask, what does accountability mean to you?" Michael nodded thoughtfully. "Accountability," he said, "is about facing the mirror. Not just when it's convenient. It's owning your past, your choices, and how you treat people, even when the cameras aren't rolling." Sonny continued, her voice steady. "That's powerful, and it makes me think of a moment last year at that Creed 3 red carpet. You had an exchange with Laurel, a reporter you'd gone to school with. A lot of people felt you used that moment to embarrass her publicly. Some called it justified, others called it petty. What do you say to that?" The room felt colder. Michael sat up straighter, blinking once before responding. "I didn't embarrass her. I reminded her. For years, I was called names, dismissed, written off by people who now want access because I made it. That moment was about reclaiming my narrative, not revenge." Sonny pressed on, calmly but firmly. "But isn't there a line between honesty and humiliation, especially when you know a camera is recording? You're in a position of immense influence." Some saw that moment as punching down. Michael paused, looking directly at her. "If telling the truth is punching down, then maybe we need to question who we're protecting when we say that." The air thickened with unspoken tension. The audience, usually quick to laugh or applaud, had fallen into a tight silence. Joy shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Ana Navarro pursed her lips, sensing where the conversation might be headed but unsure if she should step in. Sonny remained poised, but there was a distinct glint in her Aja mix of journalistic precision and personal challenge. Michael's demeanor, though still composed, now carried an undercurrent of frustration. "We always ask Black men to be gracious," he said slowly, "to smile through disrespect, to forgive publicly what was never apologized for privately. And when one of us chooses honesty over politeness, suddenly it's a character flaw." Sonny replied, "That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that public accountability is complicated. When you're in a place of power, how you respond to past hurts sends a message. Some young men may think calling someone out in front of a camera is strength. Is that really what we want to teach them?" Michael looked down briefly, jaw tightening. Before replying, "I want them to know that they're allowed to speak up, that they don't have to shrink themselves for the comfort of people who once tried to dim their light." His voice had grown quieter but heavier. "This isn't about pettiness. It's about memory, about what we carry. And when someone tries to act like they didn't throw stones, sometimes all you can do is show them you remember." Sonny leaned forward slightly, voice calm but sharp. "But don't we also have a responsibility to rise above, to lead with dignity, not just authenticity? Sometimes, grace is the higher road." Michael's expression darkened, and he shook his head. "Grace has always been a one-way street for us. When have we been extended the same grace we're expected to give? I'm tired of playing the gentle Black man for everyone's comfort." Joy tried to interject with a joke, desperate to lighten the mood, but no one laughed. Ana shifted in her seat and glanced toward the producers, as if to ask whether they should cut to commercial. Michael turned to Sonny again. "You keep saying grace. What about justice? What about truth? Do we only value those when they're delivered with a smile?" Sonny didn't flinch. "We value them when they uplift, not when they tear down." Michael stood up slightly in his chair, as if ready to leave, then sat back down, trying to collect himself. "That's the problem," he said bitterly. "You think truth tears people down because it makes you uncomfortable." The moment cracked open. There was no more civility, only a raw, unfiltered exchange of ideals and emotions. Michael's voice grew sharper. "You sit here asking me about accountability like I haven't carried it my whole life. Like I didn't grow up watching people like you question every choice a Black man makes once he reaches success. You don't know what it's like to build something from the ground while everyone calls you corny until you're profitable." Sonny remained composed. And I'm asking you, as someone who supports your work, to consider how moments like that red carpet exchange reflect on the man you claim to be. Michael chuckled darkly. The man I claim to be. You don't get to define that. I came here to talk about my work, my purpose, not to be psychoanalyzed like I'm on trial. The tension was now unbearable. Even the crew behind the cameras looked uneasy, unsure of how to proceed. The audience shifted in their seats, eyes darting between Michael and Sonny, sensing something extraordinary and uncomfortable was unfolding live. Michael rose to his feet, slowly, deliberately. You know what, I'm done. His voice was calm, but there was fire underneath. I don't need to explain myself to someone who doesn't want to understand. I'm not here to perform, I'm here to be real. And if that's too much for daytime television, maybe you need to look at what you're really selling. Joy opened her mouth, perhaps to plead for him to stay, but the moment had passed. Michael adjusted his suit jacket, glanced briefly at the other hosts, and turned toward the exit. Good luck with the rest of the show, he said over his shoulder, then disappeared off camera. The silence that followed was deafening. Sonny looked stunned, though she masked it quickly. Joy blinked rapidly, searching for words. Anna looked down at her notes, unsure whether to speak or stay silent. Sarah N. finally whispered, "Well, we'll be right back," before the show cut abruptly to commercial. Within minutes of airing, social media exploded. The clip spread like wildfire, with hashtags like #MichaelBJ or Dan Walkoff, and #TheViewDrama trending across platforms. Opinions were split down the middle. Some praised Michael's passion, calling his response powerful and overdue. Others criticized him for being defensive, saying the moment could have been a teachable example of grace under pressure. Analysts dissected every word, every facial expression, every pause. Think pieces flooded blogs. Twitter threads unraveled the history between the press and blackmail celebrities. Instagram Reels paired dramatic music with slowed footage of Michael pushing his chair back. Commentators on YouTube debated whether Sonny had overstepped, or if Michael had simply revealed a side of himself the public wasn't ready to see. Meanwhile, the views ratings soared from the controversy. The producers released a vague statement the next morning about respecting all voices and valuing honest dialogue, while remaining careful not to name either party directly. Michael posted a cryptic Instagram story hours later, a black screen with the words, "Truth over comfort." What made the moment viral wasn't just the drama in it, was the rawness. In a media landscape saturated with scripted soundbites and PR-managed appearances, this unscripted clash between two powerful voices felt real, visceral, and unresolved. The fact that Michael walked off, rather than bowing to the usual demands of damage control, left audiences rattled. It wasn't just about a red carpet. It was about respect, race, memory, masculinity, and the impossible expectations placed on those in the public eye. It opened a broader conversation about how we treat our heroes when they stop smiling, how we interrogate truth when it's delivered without apology. And it became more than a segment, it became a symbol, a cultural touchpoint, a viral rupture in the polished fabric of daytime TV. The fallout continued for days. Talk shows covered it. Podcasts dissected it. Old clips of Michael talking about perseverance and identity resurfaced. Given new meaning in the context of his exit, Sonny Hostin remained largely quiet, issuing only a brief statement thanking viewers for engaging in necessary conversations. But the clip endured, reposted, and reshared with every twist of public opinion. People argued not just about who was right, but about why they felt so strongly. It tapped into generational pain, into gender politics, into what we expect from black public figures and how we frame emotional honesty. The misanthropes of it, all the lack of resolution, the absence of a polished PR. The misanthropes of it, all the lack of resolution, the absence of a polished PR apology was exactly why it resonated. It wasn't sanitized for consumption. It was unfiltered, unpredictable, and undeniably human. And maybe that's why the moment mattered. Not because it was perfect, but because it wasn't. Because in a world where so much is rehearsed and rehearsed again, something spontaneous broke through. Michael B. Jordan didn't stay to explain himself. He didn't offer the neatly packaged statements so often required of celebrities. He walked off, leaving behind questions, discomfort, and a challenge. A challenge to listen differently, to see differently, to remember that vulnerability doesn't always come with a smile and that, sometimes, walking away is the loudest truth of all.